As the room grows quiet, let your thoughts sail away. Close your eyes, let the day fall away, slowly, like mist retreating from the sea. You are here now in the quiet space between one breath and the next, where time moves softly and thoughts lose their edges. The air is still, the world calm, and your mind begins to settle into the gentle rhythm of rest. In this stillness, imagine a distant world, ancient yet timeless, a place built not from noise but from patience, each stone, each road, each archway laid by hands that knew the slow art of creation. There is no hurry here, no rush to reach tomorrow, only the steady heartbeat of life unfolding, one calm moment after another. Feel the hush of dusk as it falls across marble streets. Hear the faint echo of footsteps that once walked beneath the Roman sun. Steady, measured, sure. The sound drifts like memory, soft and far away. Buildings rise not in competition but in harmony with the earth. Fountains murmur gently, water glides through channels carved with care. The city breathes quietly, and in that breath you can rest. Let your mind wander through arches that have seen centuries pass, arches that still stand, still hold, still wait. There's something endlessly comforting about what endures. Stone against time, calm against chaos, silence against the noise of the world. Here, even the air feels ancient, filled with stories, yet free of burden. You are not asked to think. You are only asked to drift, to listen, to breathe. As you float deeper into this calm, the images of the modern world begin to fade. No screens, no sounds, no lists to complete. Only the steady rhythm of the past, flowing like a quiet river beneath your thoughts. The light of Rome glows faintly in your imagination, golden and soft, like candlelight through linen curtains. The hum of the city is distant, peaceful. Somewhere a drop of water falls into a fountain, and the ripples fade slowly, endlessly, beautifully. This is where we begin. A journey not of conquest, but of calm. Not of glory, but of grace. We will walk slowly through history's long corridors, where the sound of footsteps blends with a whisper of wind over stone. Let each breath take you further into stillness. Let each word carry you deeper into rest. And as the world of ancient Rome unfolds, may you find not noise or battle, but quiet. The quiet that lives inside every creation, made with care. Now the story begins to take shape, gentle and unhurried. Ancient Rome was more than an empire of marble and might. It was a rhythm, a way of being. People lived in harmony with the flow of time. Cities grew slowly with precision and purpose. Roads stretched outward like calm thoughts, connecting hearts and homes. There were no machines, no roaring engines, only human hands guided by the understanding of balance. Bridges curved with quiet confidence. Aqueducts carried life from mountain springs to the heart of the city. Every sound, the turning of a wheel, the trickle of water, the quiet murmur of trade, became part of a great, tranquil orchestra. In this world, order was not control, it was peace. The Romans built not in haste, but in rhythm with the earth itself. And so tonight, as we drift into their world, we will walk those roads, hear those waters, and feel the hum of a civilization built on patience and quiet mastery. Breathe deeply. Let the story open before you like a long, slow dawn over stone and time. You are safe. You are still. And the journey into ancient Rome begins softly. Urban infrastructure. Breathe. Let everything around you begin to fade. The noise, the light, the leftover thoughts from your day. You are stepping into a quieter place now, a space made for ease, where time drifts without hurry. The air here is calm and warm. The body softens, the mind loosens, and the world outside grows wonderfully distant. Imagine standing at the edge of an ancient city, one built not of rush or chaos, but of harmony and balance. The stones beneath your feet are smooth from centuries of gentle footsteps. The air carries the scent of earth and cool water. Somewhere nearby, a stream glides softly through an open channel, its sound round and steady, like the breath of something timeless. This is Rome. Not the Rome of battles or conquest, but the Rome of quiet order. The Rome of structure, of stillness, of life arranged with care. The people here wake with the sun, and the city awakens with them. Not with noise, but with rhythm. A gentle hum rises as water begins to move through the aqueducts, sliding over stone and moss, carrying with it the promise of cleanliness and calm. The Romans built their cities with patience. Every wall, every archway, every path was measured not just for strength, but for flow. Streets stretch outward like calm thoughts, leading to plazas that open like deep breaths. The sound of sandals brushing across stone is the heartbeat of the morning. Water flows beside them, clear and steady, feeding fountains and baths, whispering against the marble edges of ancient pools. In this city, water is alive. It travels from mountains far away, through channels carved with care, across bridges that gleam under the sun. It moves without rush, always forward, always sure, a mirror of the people who guide it. Beneath the streets, a hidden world hums quietly. Stone tunnels carry away what must leave, keeping the surface pure. The Cloaca Maxima, vast, silent, eternal, works without praise, without pause. It breathes beneath the city, the unseen rhythm that keeps everything in balance. Above ground, the baths fill slowly. Steam curls upward into morning light, soft and silver. Here, people gather not in noise, but in calm companionship. Voices murmur, low and even, mingling with the sound of dripping water. The marble floors are cool beneath bare feet. Every surface is smooth, polished by time. The air smells faintly of oil and heat. The day begins in serenity. The plazas are wide and open. Columns cast long shadows as the sun rises higher. Vendors set their goods neatly. Children move in quiet laughter. Old men rest their hands on the edges of fountains, listening to the steady trickle of water. The entire city feels like it breathes. Slow, patient, balanced. Every road leads somewhere. Every sound belongs. Even the grand structures, the amphitheaters, the forums, the long colonnades, seem unhurried. Built of stone and purpose, they stand in silent confidence, as if knowing that time will not erase them easily. The arches curve softly against the sky. Sunlight filters through, drawing gentle lines across the ground. There is no rush to fill the spaces. Rome exists in a kind of still motion, active yet endlessly calm. And under it all, the infrastructure hums like a soft song. Aqueducts glide across valleys and hills, carrying their silver ribbons of water to the heart of the city. Fountains rise and fall with quiet grace. Cisterns fill in the dark, unseen but essential. It is the kind of design born not from impatience, but from understanding. The wisdom that everything beautiful must first be steady. As you listen, imagine the rhythm of it all merging with your own breathing. The water flows, the streets stretch outward, and you drift a little deeper into ease. The mind finds comfort in this order. There is no need to think, only to sense. The sound of dripping, the feel of stone under bare feet, the softness of the air that wraps around you. Each image settles gently, like dust in a sunbeam. In this Roman world, life was a pattern of repetition, predictable, peaceful, unbroken. The baths opened at dawn, the fountains never stopped flowing, the streets were swept clean each morning. There was always motion, yet never rush. Even the busiest corners felt deliberate, controlled, designed for the steady pace of human life. The people trusted the systems beneath their feet, the hidden channels that took away what was no longer needed, and the long aqueducts that brought life from far away. To live in Rome was to live with confidence in the unseen, to rest in the rhythm of stone and water, knowing that balance would always return. As the sun begins to dip, the city changes color. Shadows lengthen, stretching like silk across the roads. The fountains glow with the soft gold of late light. Somewhere in the distance, a bell rings. Doors close. Torches flicker to life, their flames small and calm. Evening settles gently over everything. People walk home along the same streets, their footsteps blending into the murmur of night. The sound of water remains, eternal and low, echoing softly through the channels beneath the ground. It is the heartbeat of the city, the music of balance. Now, as you imagine this world, you might feel your own breathing match its rhythm. Slow, calm, certain. The air around you seems to quiet itself, the way the city quiets when night arrives. The pulse of Rome becomes the pulse of your own rest. Let the image linger. Stone walls warm from the day's sun, the faint scent of earth and olive oil, the sound of distant water echoing through narrow streets. Let it wash over you, like the calm tide of sleep. There is no hurry here, no noise, no struggle. Only the gentle repetition of life continuing, one measured moment after another. This was Rome, a city built not just from ambition, but from the deep understanding that true strength lies in stillness. And as you rest here, within the thought of it, your body begins to sink deeper. Muscles release. The breath slows. The mind drifts in quiet admiration of this ancient order, this peaceful motion. You do not need to do anything, not even listen too closely. Just be here, in the rhythm of what was, in the calm of what remains. The city of Rome continues to hum softly beneath the stars. Water still moves through its hidden veins. Time still folds gently around its stones. And you, safe, silent, and at ease, drift alongside it, carried by the same current that has flowed for centuries. Let the story of Rome become the lullaby of your rest. Let the sound of water, the feel of stone, and the breath of timelessness carry you slowly into sleep. The world is quiet now. You are calm. And everything, like the city itself, moves perfectly, peacefully, endlessly on. Roman concrete. Close your eyes. Let the air around you soften. Let the weight of the day begin to dissolve, one quiet breath at a time. There is nothing to do now, nothing to hold, nothing to think about. Only this stillness, this slow exhale that carries you further from the noise of the waking world. You are safe here, surrounded by calm. Every sound grows distant, every thought grows lighter. The body loosens, the breath deepens, and you begin to float in a space made only of peace. Imagine now a city long asleep beneath the moon. Ancient Rome rests in silver light. The stones glow faintly, as though they remember the warmth of the day. Arches rise into the quiet night. Domes shimmer softly against the stars. There is no movement, only the still presence of what endures, the whisper of history folded gently into every wall. Somewhere in that silence lies a secret, patient and strong, a material born of earth and sea, built not to rush, but to last. Roman concrete, calm, enduring, ageless. Made from volcanic ash, lime, and seawater, it breathes like living stone. When touched by water, it heals itself, closing its tiny cracks, rejoining its fragments. It does not fight against time, it moves with it. That is its quiet strength. Imagine the hands that mixed it. Workers in the dawn, their motions slow, deliberate. The lime powder sifts into the air like pale smoke. Ash darkens the water, stone dust clings to skin. They stir with wooden paddles, rhythm steady, patient. No engines roar, no machines command, only the sound of water folding through the mixture, the low murmur of voices, the creak of wood against stone. The rhythm of creation is unhurried, almost meditative. As the mixture thickens, it becomes heavy, smooth, alive. It holds the warmth of the sun and the coolness of the earth at once. Each bucket, each handful, is carried to a waiting form. A wall, a column, an arch. The material slides into place with quiet certainty. The builders tap it gently, smoothing the surface, aligning each stone with the next. They know that time will do the rest. The Romans did not build in haste. They understood that strength comes from patience. The Pantheon, its dome rising like the curve of the sky, stands not because of speed, but because of calm precision. Every grain of ash, every drop of water, every stone beneath the surface knows its place. The weight distributes evenly, the forces settle into balance. 2,000 years have passed, and it still stands unbroken. Picture the dome from within. The air is cool, silent. The oculus above opens to the heavens, a perfect circle of light. Sunlight drifts down like a slow river, dust motes spinning lazily in its path. The walls hum with a kind of quiet intelligence. They have absorbed the centuries without strain. Here, time does not rush. It simply gathers gently, like water, pooling at the edge of thought. Roman concrete has no gleam of metal, no flash of perfection. Its beauty lies in endurance, in the soft, steady acceptance of weather, of weight, of rain. When the sea air seeps into its surface, minerals bloom inside the cracks, forming tiny crystals that mend what was once broken. It is, in its own way, alive, breathing with the rhythm of nature itself. In this still world of stone and shadow, the builders walk slowly along scaffolds. The night is quiet, broken only by the sound of tools meeting stone, the occasional low hum of a work song carried through the air. Torches flicker, their light golden and kind. The scent of wet earth and lime drifts upward. The walls grow inch by inch, not in rush, but in rhythm. The city sleeps beneath this calm labor. In the distance, fountains murmur. The Tiber flows softly under bridges of ancient design. Everything moves in measured harmony. People, water, air, and stone. The Romans built not only with strength, but with stillness. Their creations were meant to outlast storms, to greet centuries with quiet resilience. Feel how this patience reaches you even now. The thought of it settles the breath. The body follows. You begin to feel as if you too are built of something steady, something unhurried. The mind becomes like stone, cool, grounded, enduring. Each breath smooths the rough edges inside you, like lime settling into water. Roman concrete endures because it understands change. When cracks appear, it does not resist, it transforms. The seawater enters, and instead of decay, there is renewal. The minerals rejoin, creating new bonds stronger than before. There is a lesson in that calm transformation, not one to think about, only to feel. The body too can repair, can rest, can mend in silence. Imagine running your hand along the wall of the Pantheon. The surface is cool, smooth in some places, rough in others. Beneath your fingertips lies the texture of time, soft erosion, gentle resilience. You feel the quiet pulse of centuries there, steady and kind. The wall does not hurry to impress. It simply exists, holding its weight, keeping its promise. Far above, the light fades, shadows move slowly across the curved interior. The city outside grows quieter as evening deepens. Inside, the dome holds the echo of distant footsteps, the faint sigh of the wind through the oculus. The silence grows deeper until it feels almost sacred, but not in worship, in rest. Each grain of ash, each breath of lime, each drop of water is part of a long stillness. Even now, under modern noise and motion, the ancient mixture continues its work unseen. Tiny crystals form, the structure breathes. What was once cracked becomes whole again. The city lives because its walls know how to rest, how to wait, how to heal. Let that image settle into you, the patience of stone, the wisdom of water. Feel your breath match that slow pulse. Inhale deeply, exhale softly. You are becoming part of the same rhythm. You are the wall, unbroken. You are the water, flowing. You are the calm that binds them both. Somewhere, far away, dawn begins to rise over the ruins. The first light touches the arches, then the domes, then the marble steps. The city stirs gently. Birds begin to move through the air, their wings catching gold. And still beneath it all, the Roman concrete rests unchanged, silent, strong, eternal. As you listen, your body sinks deeper into the feeling of stillness. The muscles unwind. The mind becomes a wide, quiet courtyard. You can almost hear the faint rhythm of distant footsteps fading away. Every part of you begins to settle, to root, to rest. The builders of Rome are gone, but their calm remains. In the stones, in the silence, in the patient endurance of what they left behind. You are connected to it now. The same patience that shaped the Pantheon shapes your breathing. The same rhythm that carried water through the aqueduct carries peace through your body. You do not need to remember anything or hold on to any image. Let them drift. Let the sound of stone and water blur together. Let the calm of ancient Rome cradle you as you drift toward sleep. The light grows softer still. The arches fade into dusk. The last echo of footsteps disappears down a marble hall. And somewhere deep beneath, in the slow heartbeat of the earth, the concrete continues its gentle work, healing, holding, waiting. Everything is quiet now. The air is warm. The world is kind. You are safe. You are still. You are home, inside the calm endurance of time itself. Roman water and sanitation systems. There is a kind of peace that only water can bring, a calm that flows through every sound it makes. The Romans understood this in a way that was simple and eternal. They did not just build with stone, they built with rhythm. The rhythm of water moving through arches, gliding beneath streets, whispering through channels hidden from the light. The day begins softly in the hills outside the city, where springs emerge from the earth, cool and clear. The air there is quiet, touched by a light breeze and the faint scent of moss. The builders stand in silence for a while before they begin, listening to the sound of the flow. They follow it, tracing its course down the slope, and they learn its pace. Slow, steady, patient. The aqueduct will follow this same pace, never faster, never forced. Stone by stone they raise arches that stretch across the valleys, tall and perfect, light resting on their curves. The water glides through the top, moving without effort, carrying the calm of the mountains to the heart of the city. It enters Rome without noise. There is no crash or roar, only the soft echo of liquid against stone. The channels split and wander, finding their way into fountains, baths, and gardens. Beneath the city, pipes made of clay and lead guide it onward, weaving through walls and floors, moving unseen yet always felt. The people wake to its presence. Fountains begin to murmur. The sound fills the streets like a slow song. A woman carries a jug and pauses by a basin. A child leans close to touch the cool stream. The water is a friend, dependable, quiet, constant. It washes the marble clean and leaves behind the faint scent of minerals and air. In the public baths, steam begins to rise. Water, heated by fire, flows under the floors, filling rooms with warmth. People step in slowly, voices low, the sound of ripples mixing with breath. The baths are not places of noise or rush, they are sanctuaries of ease. The warmth surrounds the body, the water glides against the skin, and everything feels balanced again. Above, sunlight filters through high windows, breaking into soft reflections that shimmer across the surface. The air hums with tranquility. It is the sound of a city that knows how to breathe. Beneath this calm surface lies another world. Deep under the streets, the Cloaca Maxima stretches outward like a secret river. It moves through the darkness with the same patience as the aqueduct above. The tunnels are cool, the walls damp with age, and the air filled with a faint, clean scent of stone. Water passes through slowly, carrying away what must leave, always onward, always sure. It is the unseen balance. What comes in must also go out, and the city remains clean, breathing in and out through its hidden veins. No one rushes here. The engineers and workers who walk these tunnels speak in quiet tones, their footsteps echoing softly in the hollow dark. They do not need to see the end. It is enough to know that the flow continues. Above them, life unfolds in rhythm with this pulse. The markets open, fountains sparkle, baths fill, and the sound of moving water keeps time for everything. It is a living system. Simple, perfect, unbroken. At the edge of the city, where the aqueduct first arrives, arches meet the sky. The stone has turned golden under the sun, and vines curl softly around the base. The water inside glides cool and dark, unseen but constant. Birds perch along the edges, their songs blending with the faint hum of flow. It is a sound older than memory, steady as the earth itself. To stand here is to feel the patience of centuries. The way stone holds the light, the way water moves without asking for anything. The Romans knew this piece well. They trusted the water to do what it had always done: move, renew, balance. The system they built was not only functional, but graceful. It gave life to the city without demand, without interruption. Even at night, when torches flicker along the streets and the air cools, the water continues. It slides beneath doorways and courtyards, beneath columns and bridges, a quiet companion to every dream. If you listen closely, you can still hear it. The faint sound of a fountain in an empty square. The drip of water against marble. The sigh of the drains below. Each sound connects to the other until it becomes one continuous breath. The city and the water move as one, inseparable. The aqueducts feed the fountains feed the drains feed the river. Everything returns, nothing is lost. In that endless loop there is comfort. The same water that once touched the mountains now cools the hands of a child. The same drop that fell through the tunnels returns again to the sea. It is a perfect circle, calm, steady, eternal. As you picture this world, you might feel your own breath finding its rhythm within it. The air flows in, the air flows out. Like the aqueduct, you draw in what is clean and release what is heavy. There is no need to control it. It happens naturally, beautifully, like water finding its way home. The Romans understood that everything thrives when it moves in balance. Their systems were built to last because they worked with nature, not against it. Gravity, slope, and time did the work that machines do now. The water was never pushed, it was guided. It flowed through arches and shadows, through light and depth, whispering of patience. Now the city is quiet again, the streets shimmer under the moonlight, and the fountains reflect the stars. The air is cool, touched by the scent of wet stone. Somewhere in the distance, the great sewer hums softly, still carrying its unseen current. The aqueduct arches stand tall against the dark sky, and the water glides through them as it always has. Nothing has changed. The same calm that filled the city 2,000 years ago lingers in the air tonight. You can almost feel it. The weightless movement, the steady rhythm, the endless calm. And as you rest here, listening, your mind begins to mirror that stillness. Thoughts drift like leaves on a gentle stream. The noise inside you grows quiet. The body feels lighter, the breath deeper, the heart slower. You have entered the same harmony the Romans built, a world of flow, of release, of quiet renewal. Everything unnecessary has been carried away, leaving only what is pure and peaceful. The water continues its journey. It flows beneath you, around you, through time itself. It does not stop for centuries or storms or change. It simply moves, smooth, graceful, alive. The sound of it is a lullaby older than any language. The Romans are gone, but their calm remains. The arches still stand, the fountains still whisper, the drains still breathe. Their patience is now your peace. You are part of that same current, resting in the gentle pull of something endless and kind. The night deepens, but there is no darkness here, only soft shadow, cool stone, and the steady rhythm of flow. The aqueduct carries its silver thread through the quiet fields. The city sleeps, the stars lean close. Everything continues in balance, and in that balance you drift. The sound fades, not into silence, but into stillness, the kind of stillness that holds the world together. You are safe. You are calm. You are floating through time, carried by water that has never stopped moving. Let it hold you. Let it rock you. Let it remind you that peace, like water, is always near, flowing beneath everything, waiting to return. Sleep now with the hum of Rome beneath your dreams, soft and eternal. Roman roads and communication. The night is quiet and wide, the kind of quiet that seems to stretch endlessly over the earth. Far away, a single line cuts through the landscape, a road, pale beneath the moonlight, straight and patient. It leads forward without question, the way a stream follows its bed. The air is cool and slow. There is a soft hum somewhere, the sound of life at rest. You breathe in, and the world feels spacious. The horizon has no edge, it is all gentle movement and calm. In the distance, a carriage moves at an even pace. The wheels turn over smooth stones, each rotation steady and sure. The horses breathe softly, their hooves tapping a quiet rhythm against the road. The sound is not loud, it blends with the wind, with the faint call of a bird in the dark. You can almost feel the motion, the gentle sway of the cart, the easy rhythm of travel, the peace that comes from moving forward without rush. This is a Roman road, built long ago, built to last, built to endure both time and silence. Each stone beneath it has been placed with care, aligned perfectly to carry the weight of centuries. The surface is even and clean, cool beneath the stars. It stretches across valleys and hills, through forests and fields, reaching from one horizon to the next. The builders who shaped it worked slowly, their hands steady, their hearts patient. They knew that what they created would hold more than footsteps. It would hold connection. The roads of Rome were the quiet veins of an empire. They did not rush. They simply existed, strong and still. Over them, the pulse of life moved like blood. Merchants and messengers, soldiers and dreamers, each carried by the same path, each trusting the same ground. It was said that all roads led to Rome, and it was true, not in the way of maps or numbers, but in the way of breath. Every path curved gently inward toward the heart of something vast and calm. Imagine walking one of these roads at dawn. The light comes softly, brushing gold across the stone. The air is still cool from the night, filled with the scent of dust and cypress. In the distance, the outline of a milestone glows faintly, carved with numbers that mark the distance to the next town. A traveler pauses beside it, resting his hand on its smooth surface. The stone is cool, solid, eternal. He breathes deeply, feels the steadiness beneath his palm, and continues on his way. There is no noise here, only the rhythm of travel, the soft creak of a wheel, the faint rustle of wind through olive branches. The world feels simple. Time slows down until it almost disappears. The road stretches on, unbroken, perfectly calm. Even the shadows move gently, as if careful not to disturb the peace. As the morning deepens, the road fills with quiet life. A merchant's cart passes, its wheels gliding over the stones. A messenger rides by, carrying a small leather satchel filled with letters. The Roman postal system, the cursus publicus, hums gently across the empire. Couriers ride day and night, their pace unhurried but constant, like the pulse of a steady heart. At each station, fresh horses wait in silence, their breath rising in soft clouds. A relay of calm precision, carrying not urgency but order. Messages glide from hand to hand, from town to town, from border to border, moving as naturally as water down a slope. In every mile of these roads there is harmony. The stones lie tight against one another, forming a surface that endures centuries of footsteps and wheels. Beneath them, layers of gravel and clay cradle the weight, firm yet yielding. Rain slides away through narrow ditches, whispering as it goes. The system is simple but perfect, every part balanced, every purpose clear. It does not demand attention, it simply works. And now imagine the midday sun warming the road. The light shimmers softly on the stone, and the heat rises like a sigh. The air smells faintly of wild thyme and dry grass. In the shade of a small tree, a traveler sits and rests. His cloak is laid beside him, his eyes half closed. He listens to the sound of the world around him. Distant hooves, a bird's gentle call, the hum of insects hidden in the brush. He does not hurry to rise. The road will wait. It always does. Far beyond him, in another province, another messenger is doing the same. Somewhere a ship has docked and a cart is being loaded. Somewhere else a soldier writes a letter home. The network of roads ties them all together, invisible but strong. It is the quiet geometry of connection, stone and distance, time and motion, all joined in one unbroken design. Evening comes softly. The air cools again, and the colors of the world turn slow and golden. Along the road, lamps flicker to life. The light glows warm against the stones, tracing the path like a ribbon of fire. Travelers move gently beneath the fading sky, their shadows stretching long. The sound of the road at night is tender. The low murmur of voices, the clink of harness, the soft beat of hooves. Somewhere far ahead, the lights of a small inn shimmer. Inside, the air smells of bread and smoke, of rest and comfort. Outside, the road waits in silence, endless and sure. The Romans did not build their roads for haste. They built them for continuity. Every stone, every arch, every curve was designed to remain, to guide, to hold. They connected not just places, but hearts. Across mountains and plains, deserts and coastlines, the same smooth line stretched outward, quiet, calm, eternal. They carried messages, goods, soldiers, laughter, hope. But more than anything, they carried stillness. You can feel that stillness even now. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine standing on one of those roads. The world around you is hushed. The air moves softly across your face. The stone beneath your feet is cool, smooth, unmoving. You look ahead and see the path vanishing into the distance, perfectly straight, perfectly calm. It feels endless, yet gentle, like the steady unfolding of breath. You begin to walk, slowly, your footsteps falling in rhythm with the beat of your heart. Every sound blends into a single, quiet harmony. The body relaxes. The mind follows. As the stars rise, the road seems to glow faintly, a silver thread stretching between earth and sky. The couriers of the cursus publicus still move along it, their torches small points of light against the night. Each rider carries messages, orders, greetings, news, yet the motion is peaceful, deliberate. Nothing about it feels hurried. The horse's hooves strike the stones in a steady pattern, a soft percussion beneath the hum of crickets. In the distance, you can hear the faint sound of running water where a small stream passes beneath a bridge. The bridge itself is curved, strong, patient. Water and road move together, each in its own direction, each knowing its purpose. Sometimes the road climbs a hill. From the top, the world unfolds. Dark fields, quiet towns, a river gleaming in moonlight. Far away, another line of light marks another road, another traveler, another heartbeat in the same vast network. You realize that the empire is not just a place but a rhythm, one endless motion of connection and calm. The Romans built milestones along the roads so that travelers would always know where they were. Each stone stands silent and upright, its numbers carved deep and clear. They measure not only distance, but patience. Between each marker lies a stretch of quiet, a small eternity of movement. The traveler who walks there does not count the miles, he listens. He feels the world expand and contract with every step. Beneath the ground, under the same roads, lie the faint echoes of all who have passed before, the hum of wheels, the murmur of voices, the soft vibration of time itself. These sounds have blended together until they have become part of the earth's own heartbeat. The road does not remember names, but it remembers peace. It carries it forward year after year, century after century, stone by stone. And so the journey continues. The road leads onward, past villages asleep, past fields resting under stars. The messenger rides until dawn, guided by the same steady line, the same soft light. The empire stretches vast and silent around him, but the path beneath him never falters. He is never lost. Every stone knows the way home. If you listen long enough, you can feel the same certainty within yourself, the same calm, the same direction that asks for no thought, only trust. You do not need to hurry. The path is clear. The rhythm is gentle. The journey itself is enough. The night grows deeper. The lamps fade one by one. The road cools beneath the air, the stone holding a faint warmth from the sun. In the quiet distance, the first notes of morning begin. A bird's song, the whisper of a breeze. The world shifts from dark to pale, from silence to soft sound. And still the road remains, patient and sure. Somewhere the courier reaches a new station. He dismounts, hands his message to another rider, and rests. A new horse is ready, calm and waiting. The exchange happens wordlessly, smoothly. The motion never stops. The message continues, the road continues, life continues. Everything moves as it should, steady and serene. As you breathe now, feel that same flow inside you. The inhale travels in, the exhale moves out. There is no strain. There is only rhythm, natural, quiet, complete. You are part of this long road, this unbroken calm that connects all things. The stars fade slowly from the sky. The city of Rome stirs far away, its towers faint in the dawn. The roads that lead to it glow faintly in the new light, silver turning to gold. They stretch across the world like threads of peace, like lines drawn by a patient hand. The empire awakens, but the calm remains. Beneath the footsteps, beneath the wheels, beneath the noise, the stillness endures. You can rest in that stillness now. The road will carry you. You do not need to walk, or speak, or think. The journey continues with or without you, steady and kind. The sound of hooves fades, the hum of wind softens, and you begin to drift. The Roman roads move quietly beneath the stars, and you move quietly within yourself. The same peace flows through both. Sleep now, traveler of calm roads. Sleep in the rhythm of stone and distance, of breath and balance. The world is wide, the path is gentle, and every way leads home. Roman architecture and space. The night settles softly over the city, and the air becomes slow and clear. You stand at the edge of an ancient courtyard where stone glimmers under the faint breath of moonlight. The walls are quiet, the arches patient. You can almost feel the calm pressed into the air, a stillness that has lasted for centuries. It is the silence of things built not to impress, but to endure, the calm of geometry made eternal. The city of Rome breathes gently in the dark, its pulse hidden beneath marble and shadow. Somewhere in the distance, a faint breeze drifts through the open arches of the Colosseum. The vast stone ring sleeps, its outer walls catching the pale light, its inner corridors still and cool. You walk slowly through one of its gates. The ground beneath your feet feels smooth and solid, every stone laid with deliberate care. The walls rise around you in perfect rhythm, arch after arch, curve after curve, forming patterns that are both grand and gentle. You tilt your head upward and see the night sky framed by the upper rim, a perfect circle of quiet infinity. It feels as though the structure is breathing with you, expanding and releasing, ancient yet alive. The Romans built with patience, not speed. They shaped their world through weight and proportion, through lines that met not in conflict, but in balance. Each column, each vault, each span of stone carries its share of calm. Nothing strains, nothing leans too far, everything supports something else. The eye moves along the lines and finds no sharpness, only flow. The Colosseum's arches rise like waves frozen in time, a rhythm made of stone. Beneath your hand, The surface feels cool, textured by centuries of wind. You breathe slowly, and the air echoes back with the scent of dust and age. Gentle, grounding, real. In the center of the great arena there is nothing now but quiet space. Once it was filled with noise and motion, but now only silence remains. The sun of the day has warmed the stone, and that warmth lingers, faint and comforting. You sit upon one of the steps, your hand resting on the stone beside you. The temperature shifts slightly under your palm, the way the earth shifts with the fading of light. Above you, the arches open toward the sky, catching starlight and holding it still. The symmetry is perfect, effortless. You breathe in the order of it, and something inside you mirrors that shape. The mind begins to settle, the heart slows its rhythm, the breath finds even ground. Roman architecture does not shout, it hums. It speaks softly through repetition, through the quiet dialogue of curve and column. In every structure there is a sense of measure, as though each stone has been placed in conversation with the next. The Pantheon stands as the purest whisper of this harmony. You walk through its vast bronze doors, heavy yet smooth, and step into a world of perfect geometry. The air inside is cool and dense. The dome above curves like the inside of the world itself. At its crown, a single circle of light falls through the oculus, drifting down in a slow column that turns dust into gold. The light moves gently across the walls, touching the marble with warmth, sliding along the surfaces like a careful hand. The floor is smooth beneath your feet, polished by countless footsteps, yet it still reflects a faint shimmer. Every sound you make is returned softly to you. A footstep, a breath, the smallest motion. The echo does not rush, it drifts. You can hear time itself in that echo, stretched and calm. The Pantheon feels less like a building and more like a space carved out of stillness. The dome holds the sky, but it does not confine it. It welcomes it. When sunlight enters, it becomes part of the design. When rain falls through the oculus, it lands on the floor with a faint musical rhythm, reminding you that the space is not closed but alive. The Romans understood space as something to be shaped by balance. They built not to dominate the landscape but to rest within it. Their temples and baths, their basilicas and arches, all breathe in harmony with the earth around them. Nothing is hurried. Every structure rises as if it had always been there. The stones rest upon one another in quiet conversation, weight meeting weight, curve meeting line, everything holding still. In that stillness you can feel a peace that goes beyond time. Imagine standing in the middle of a Roman forum at dawn. The columns cast long silver shadows across the paving stones. The air smells faintly of rain and dust, and somewhere far away, water from a fountain whispers against marble. The sound carries lightly through the open air, touching the edges of the buildings and fading into the sky. You walk slowly between the columns. Each one is tall and graceful, fluted like the surface of calm water. They rise without struggle, reaching upward in silence. Between them, open space breathes, wide, measured, serene. The geometry is simple but complete. You can sense that every proportion has been considered, that every stone carries its role without effort. As the sun climbs higher, light begins to move through the arches and corridors. It glides across the floor, catches on the edges of columns, and fills the empty air with soft brightness. You can almost hear the light, a quiet, shimmering hum that flows through space as smoothly as water through channels. The Romans knew how to use light as if it were a material of its own. They let it enter not in bursts but in rhythm. Through windows high above, it slides downward like a gentle wave. It finds balance between brightness and shade, between what can be seen and what must remain hidden. The light does not fill every corner, it lingers where it is welcome. Inside the Pantheon, the sunlight continues to drift across the walls. Every hour, it moves slightly, tracing the passage of time without rush. The circle of light becomes an instrument of stillness, reminding you that movement itself can be calm. The space breathes with it, expanding when the light grows bright, resting when it fades. Even the shadows here are soft, their edges smooth as silk. The marble columns glow faintly, their veins of color like streams of frozen water. The dome above curves gently as if embracing the air. The perfection of it is not cold but peaceful. It feels inevitable, as though the world had always meant to take this shape. Elsewhere in the city, arches rise quietly above streets lined with stone. They frame the sky, the trees, the movement of people passing below. Bridges curve over rivers with effortless grace, their reflections shimmering on the water. The Romans built bridges that seemed to grow naturally from the earth, their curves echoing the landscape around them. Everything they made was grounded in rhythm. The repetition of arches along a bridge, the pattern of tiles on a floor, the steady spacing of columns, all spoke of balance. To walk among them is to move through music that has been stilled into form. You might imagine for a moment the builders at work. They move slowly, lifting stone with ropes and pulleys, guiding each piece into place. There is no rush, no noise of engines, only the quiet command of craft. The sound of tools against stone is soft and regular, a gentle percussion that fades into the wind. The workers speak little. Their movements are steady as though they are following an ancient rhythm that lives in their hands. They do not work for spectacle. They build for silence, for strength, for permanence. And when the structure is finished, it stands not as a monument to them, but as a home for peace. The beauty of Roman architecture lies not in what it shows, but in what it allows you to feel. Within its symmetry, the body relaxes. Within its proportions, the mind slows. The eyes rest easily on the balance between light and shadow, between weight and air. Everything here reminds you that order is not rigidity, it is gentleness. The walls do not confine, they cradle. The domes do not press, they open. The space itself becomes a kind of breathing. As evening approaches, the city softens once more. The marble glows warm under the last rays of sun. The air grows still. Through the arches of the Colosseum, light fades in thin bands, leaving behind a quiet gold. The Pantheon's dome catches the last of the daylight and releases it slowly, like an exhale. The streets grow quieter, footsteps echo gently against the stone. You walk past fountains where water falls in steady rhythm, reflecting the faint shimmer of stars. Every sound feels deliberate, measured, soothing. Even silence here has depth, as though the city is listening to itself. The night deepens, the buildings seem to dissolve into shadow, yet their shapes remain clear in your mind. You can still feel the weight of the arches, the still air beneath the dome, the soft coolness of marble beneath your fingertips. The geometry becomes part of your breathing. You inhale, and the arches widen inside you. You exhale, and the calm settles deeper. The world feels vast but gentle, full but quiet. Time slows to the pace of stone. The Romans built for eternity, but what they created was peace. The balance of their architecture reflects the balance of nature. The curve of a shell, the arc of the sky, the calm of the sea. Nothing in it asks for attention. Everything invites rest. As you stand beneath those silent domes and columns, you realize that stillness itself can be a kind of strength. The air feels heavier now, but in a comforting way, like a blanket woven from light and shadow. You close your eyes and listen. The city hums softly, its breath steady, its heart calm. Somewhere, water continues to move through hidden pipes, echoing faintly beneath the ground. The same water that once cooled the baths, that once fell as rain through the oculus, still flows quietly, connecting one space to another. Above, the stars hang steady in the Roman sky. The arches frame them perfectly, each one like a window to rest. You stand there, breathing with the city, and the peace of it fills you completely. In this stillness, you understand what the Romans built. Not monuments, but harmony. Every column, every dome, every span of stone was an offering to balance. The architecture was never about power, it was about presence. It was about learning how to stand quietly in the world and let it hold you. And so you rest. You feel the ground beneath you firm and cool. You feel the air around you still and kind. You let the rhythm of this ancient geometry carry you inward, where nothing moves too fast and nothing fades too soon. The arches close gently above you, the light softens, and you drift into the calm they were meant to create. Sleep now inside this space of balance. Sleep beneath the curve of stone and sky. Sleep in the slow breathing of the city that learned how to build peace. The world is quiet. The light is soft. The structure holds. Everything endures. You are safe here in the stillness that never ends. Roman mechanics and hydraulics. The flow of water. Close your eyes and listen. Somewhere in the distance, water moves. It slides over stone, turns through channels and hums against wood. The sound is round and constant, not loud, not fast, just steady, like breathing. The Romans once lived within this sound. It was the pulse beneath their cities, the voice that guided their work. To them, water was not only a resource, it was rhythm. It carried time forward, drop by drop, wheel by wheel. Imagine the early morning light over an ancient valley. Mist drifts above the hills, and the air smells faintly of earth and lime. A narrow channel cuts through the landscape, built with patient hands. The water moves along it gently, glimmering silver under the rising sun. It travels from the mountains toward the city, crossing stone bridges, passing beneath arches, never hurrying, never stopping. Along the way, it feeds small mills that hum softly at its edges. Wooden wheels dip into the current, turning with quiet grace. The sound they make is low and soothing, a gentle, circular sigh. At the heart of each mill, the wheel captures the flow and transforms it into motion. Wooden paddles meet the water, and for every push, the wheel turns once more. Inside the building, gears begin to move, slowly, deliberately. Grain grinds into flour. Stone rubs against stone in a rhythm that feels eternal. The workers do not rush. They move with the same patience as the water itself. Their footsteps fall in time with the wheel's steady turn. The Romans understood that the secret to power was not speed, but harmony. They built channels that worked with gravity, not against it. The water did not need to be forced, it only needed to be guided. Each flow found its path naturally, shaped by the slope of the land and the curve of the stone. The engineers who designed it stood beside their creations and listened. The sound of water told them if it was right. If the current whispered smoothly against the walls, the angle was perfect. If it splashed too high, they adjusted. Their measurements were made not only with tools, but with the ear and the heart. You can hear it now, the soft, endless loop of liquid sound. It fills the air without weight, spreading calm through everything it touches. Birds settle near the edges. The sunlight glints off the moving surface, scattering small patterns of gold. The builders pause for a moment, resting their hands against the stone. The water moves between their fingers, cool and alive. They smile quietly, not speaking. The system works. The city will have life. In Rome, the water continued its journey. It traveled through the aqueducts, those long, arching ribbons of stone that crossed valleys and hills. The water within them was calm and disciplined. It did not spill, it simply moved, guided by perfect alignment. Beneath the arches, people walked in the shade, listening to the faint murmur above. To them, it was the sound of peace. Proof that everything was flowing as it should. At the end of the aqueduct, the current descended into the city, filling fountains and baths, washing over marble and mosaic. Even here, it kept its calm. It met the stone softly, then continued its way through the drains beneath the streets. It was never still, never wasteful. Every drop served a purpose: to cool, to clean, to turn, to soothe. The Romans did not need engines or wires. They had water, and they had gravity, and they had time. That was enough. They understood that motion could be quiet. They built a world where every sound, the splash, the spin, the drip, formed part of a greater rhythm. If you listen long enough, you can still hear it. The flow does not fade. It travels through centuries, gentle as a whisper, steady as the heart. The machines of motion. In the cool air of the morning, the builders gather again. The sun catches on their tools, bronze, wood, and rope. They speak little. Each knows his role, his gesture, his pace. Before them stands a column waiting to rise, tall, heavy, impossible by ordinary hands. Yet the Romans will lift it, not with force, but with balance. They build their cranes like they build everything else, measured, patient, and graceful. A great wooden wheel rests at the center, its rim thick, its spokes even. A man steps inside. He begins to walk. The wheel turns slowly and the ropes tighten. From the other end, a block of stone begins to rise. The creak of wood, the hum of rope, the whisper of air, it all joins into one sound, one motion. There is no shouting, no rush, only rhythm. These treadwheel cranes were wonders of simplicity. One or two men walking inside could lift stones heavier than themselves 100 times over. The secret was not brute strength, but leverage, the careful balance of weight and rotation. As the wheel turned, the rope wound around its axle, lifting the load inch by inch. Slow, even, unstoppable. Each turn of the wheel was an act of quiet trust. Below, others guided the stone into place, steadying it with soft touches, murmuring instructions that barely rose above the sound of the wind. When the block met its mark, the motion stopped. The wheel stilled. The ropes loosened. The air held a pause, the kind of silence that feels full, not empty. Then another stone followed, and another. Layer by layer, wall by wall, Rome rose from patience, not speed. Elsewhere, near the rivers, the water wheels continued to spin. Some turned mills, others powered simple machines that pressed oil or cut wood. Everywhere, movement came from the same calm source. The Romans saw motion not as something to command, but to join. They worked with it, flowing inside it like another current. The machines they made were extensions of nature's breath. In the workshops, gears of bronze turned against one another. Axles slid into grooves worn smooth by years of use. The craftsmen wiped their hands and listened for harmony. If the gear's song was soft and even, the machine was right. If it clicked or rasped, something needed care. It was a form of music, a mechanical lullaby. Imagine standing near one of those great wooden wheels. The sunlight filters through its spokes. Dust drifts lazily in the air. You hear the steady rhythm of its rotation, a low hum, a deep sigh, a sound that feels like breathing. It does not hurry. Each movement has weight, purpose, calm. You close your eyes and match your breath to it. Slow inhale, slow exhale. The body begins to relax, the shoulders drop, the heart finds balance. The machine turns, the world turns, and for a moment everything feels perfectly aligned. The Romans built their machines the way they built their cities, to last, to function, to rest within the rhythm of the earth. They had no engines of fire, no roar of metal. Their world moved quietly, powered by water, by wind, by human hands and patience. And in that stillness lay their strength. Every movement they made had meaning. Every tool, every pulley, every gear was part of a larger pattern. When a column rose, it was not just a stone lifted, it was the slow breath of the city finding shape. When a wheel turned, it carried the same rhythm that moved the rivers, the same flow that carved the mountains. You can almost see it now, the sunlight on stone, the men walking inside the wooden wheel, the shadow of water gliding beneath an aqueduct arch. Each motion smooth, balanced, certain. The sound of it fills the air, a blend of footsteps, creaking timber, and the steady rush of water. It is the sound of work without struggle, of movement without haste. And as you imagine it, you might feel your own pulse fall into that same gentle pace. Slow, measured, effortless. The rhythm of work. As the day unfolds, the sounds of the city join together. Water flowing, wheels turning, voices rising and fading. It is not noise, it is rhythm. Every street hums with quiet motion. The fountains sing softly in their courtyards. The mills murmur by the river. The cranes creak at the construction sites. The city is alive, but not restless. The Romans knew how to weave work into peace. Their machines did not divide them from nature, they returned them to it. The water that drove their mills also fed their fountains. The ropes that lifted their stones also tethered their sails. The same materials that built their cities came from the hills they loved, the forests they tended, the rivers they listened to at night. Imagine walking through the city at sunset. The air is warm, and the light turns to gold. You pass beneath arches that glow softly. In the distance, the sound of running water carries through the streets. You turn a corner and find a mill beside a small stream. Its wheel turns slowly, catching the last light of the sun. You stop and watch. The motion is hypnotic. Smooth, certain, unending. It feels like watching time itself turn, one quiet circle after another. The people nearby move gently too. A man fills a jar with flour. A child leans over the edge of the mill race, laughing softly at the play of water. The smell of grain and dust drifts in the air. There is no hurry, no pressure, only continuity. Every task has its rhythm, and every rhythm belongs to something larger. As night falls, the wheels keep turning. The stars come out, mirrored faintly in the surface of the river. Lamps glow in the windows, their light trembling on the water. Somewhere, a crane creaks softly as it settles into stillness. The city exhales. The water keeps moving. The motion never stops, but it never disturbs. You walk home through the quiet streets, your footsteps matching the pulse of the world. Beneath your feet, Channels carry water through stone pipes, whispering in the dark. The city breathes. You feel that same breath in your chest. Calm, continuous. The machines may rest for the night, but the rhythm remains. The Romans left their mark not just in marble or steel, but in motion. The turning of a wheel, the dripping of water, the steady balance of force and rest. These are the sounds that shaped their world. Long after the people have gone, the idea remains that work can be slow, that power can be gentle, that progress can hum like a lullaby. Now let the sound of that thought carry you. The water flows, the wheels turn, the ropes sway softly in the dark. Everything moves as it should. Slow, sure, eternal. You are part of that same motion. Your breath, your heartbeat, your stillness, all in rhythm with the calm machinery of the world. Sleep now with the sound of water turning wood, of time turning softly in its endless circle. Sleep in the quiet power of balance, where nothing strains and everything endures. The Romans knew this peace. Now it is yours. Centers of research and creativity. The city of quiet minds. The sea moves softly along the shore, its surface a slow mirror for the sky. The morning light rises through a haze of silver, and the air tastes faintly of salt and stone. On the edge of this calm water stands a city unlike any other. Alexandria, where knowledge once lived as gently as the tide. The streets are quiet at dawn. The breeze carries the scent of papyrus and warm dust. Marble columns gleam with the first touch of sunlight, and the hum of distant voices blends with the rhythm of the sea. The city seems to breathe in time with the waves. In this place, the pursuit of thought is not loud or restless. It happens the way water moves. Constant, patient, effortless. Scholars wake slowly, their robes brushing the cool air as they walk toward the great library. Its doors are tall and smooth, its steps worn soft by years of quiet feet. Inside, light filters down through high openings, catching the floating dust that moves like golden mist. The silence is deep, but not empty. It holds the whisper of turning pages, the scratch of styluses, the low murmur of minds at peace. Rows upon rows of scrolls rest within cedar shelves. The scent of ink and resin fills the room, warm, faintly sweet. Here, time seems to stretch and dissolve. Every movement is unhurried. A scholar lifts a scroll and unrolls it carefully, his fingers steady, his eyes soft. The text before him flows in curves and loops, words drifting like water down a channel. Knowledge itself feels alive here, not something captured, but something breathing quietly in the hands of those who listen. Outside, the sunlight drifts across courtyards lined with fountains. Water arcs gently from stone basins, falls in thin silver threads, and gathers again with a soft murmur. Students sit nearby beneath olive trees, reading aloud in tones so low that the sound seems part of the wind. Teachers walk among them, their steps slow, their voices calm. Lessons unfold like stories told in half dreams, not taught through command, but through the rhythm of observation. Curiosity in this city is never hurried. It is a soft hunger, a quiet flame that burns without smoke. Every invention, every question, every experiment begins not with noise but with stillness. The scholars of Alexandria know that understanding cannot be forced, it must be invited. So they watch the world patiently, they observe the flight of birds, the ripple of light on water, the slow rise of steam from heated oil. They see movement everywhere, even in rest. As the day grows warmer, the air shimmers slightly above the marble courtyards. The sound of the sea mingles with the rustle of leaves. In the distance, the lighthouse of Pharos stands tall, its upper flame invisible in daylight, but still burning. The city hums softly beneath it, a living organism of thought. There are no shouts, no crowds, no rush, only the measured rhythm of discovery. Alexandria, at its heart, is a place built for listening, to wind, to water, to wonder. The afternoon passes gently. The sun turns gold and the light inside the library deepens. Shadows stretch long across the floor, cool and soft. The scrolls rest in their rows, whispering secrets from faraway lands. Knowledge here is not something conquered, it is something shared. And as evening falls, the scholars light small lamps, one by one, until the hall glows with hundreds of tiny suns. The air smells faintly of oil and flame. Outside, the sea sighs again, keeping time with the city that dreams beside it. The gentle machines of curiosity. Night has come, but within the workshops and small chambers of Alexandria, lights still glow. The hum of thought continues, soft as breathing. Here, inventors work not in haste, but in wonder. Their machines are small and delicate, made of bronze and glass, of thread and water. They are not built for conquest or profit. They are built to understand. One man leans over a table where a small sphere rests on a pivot. Inside it, steam gathers and escapes through tiny nozzles. The sphere turns slowly, then faster, then slows again, not for purpose, but for beauty. The air smells faintly of heat and metal. He smiles, not at achievement, but at motion. He calls it the Aeolipile, the first whisper of what the world will one day call the engine. But here, now, it is only a toy of air and patience, a dance of pressure and release. Nearby, another artisan shapes thin copper pipes into coils. When heated, they sing. The sound is low, like a sigh through wind. Students gather around, listening to the tone, their eyes half closed, their minds calm. The machine breathes, it does not roar, it whispers. The joy lies in its simplicity, in the way a single element, water or air, can move through shape and become alive. The halls of experimentation are warm and dim. Oil lamps cast circles of light that tremble on the walls. The shadows of turning gears and small levers move gently across the floor. Every motion here is slow, deliberate. There is no urgency, no competition, only curiosity. The kind that opens space instead of closing it. The air hums with focus, not strain. In one corner, a teacher demonstrates a fountain that rises by air, alone. He pours water into a hidden chamber, and the pressure lifts a second stream upward, spilling into a bowl. The students watch, wide-eyed but silent. The teacher smiles and says nothing more. The lesson is in the motion. Understanding flows naturally like water, following gravity. The invention itself is not an end, it is a path. Through these quiet acts, the Romans and Greeks of Alexandria discovered the gentle laws that move the world: balance, flow, tension, release. They found that everything breathes, water through pipes, steam through valves, air through space. Even the smallest machine is a reflection of life itself. Not mechanical, but organic. Outside, the night deepens. The stars over the harbor shimmer like fragments of thought scattered across the sky. The lighthouse burns steady, its lights sweeping slowly over the sea. The workshops fall silent, one by one. Yet even in stillness, invention continues, not through motion, but through imagination. Ideas glide quietly through the minds of those who rest, like fish through clear water. The rhythm of curiosity never stops, it simply slows, softens, becomes dream. The machines rest, but the air around them still vibrates with potential. The scent of bronze, oil, and sea salt lingers. a single drop of water falls from a pipe, echoing faintly in the quiet. Somewhere in the distance, a gull calls once, then is gone. The world holds its breath. The gentle dance of thought continues unseen, like the pulse beneath the earth. In the morning, everything will begin again, not with haste, but with peace. Another idea will turn like a wheel, another question will open like a door. The process is infinite and calm, a repetition that never tires. Knowledge grows not in leaps, but in ripples, spreading outward from each curious heart. The river of knowledge. When the first light returns, the sea outside Alexandria gleams with calm silver. Fishermen glide across its surface, their boats quiet, their nets trailing behind them like threads of thought. The city wakes slowly. The library's doors open again and the scholars return, refreshed and ready to listen. The morning feels cool and clean. Somewhere in the distance, a small fountain begins to sing. Inside the library, the masters and their students gather around wooden tables. They speak softly, their words rising and falling like waves. Questions drift through the air, gentle and unforced. One student asks how wind moves through an empty space. Another wonders how sound travels through the air. The teacher answers not with certainty, but with care. "Watch," he says, and places his hand near a flame. The flame bends slightly toward his fingers as he moves. "It is all connection," he whispers. The world breathes with us. Learning here is a form of rest. There are no debates, no noise of argument, only the soft unfolding of understanding. The teacher speaks, the student listens, and between them flows something invisible, steady as a current. Knowledge passes like water from one vessel to another, never lost, always reshaped. The process is slow but beautiful. No one hurries. They know that true knowing takes time. As the day continues, the city's hum grows a little louder, but it is still gentle, still balanced. The scribes sit near open windows, copying texts in long, even lines. Their hands move steadily, their eyes half dreaming. The scratching of reed pens against parchment forms its own rhythm, a soft music of repetition. Scrolls pile neatly beside them, each one a vessel for thought. The scent of ink mingles with the sea breeze, and the air feels full but light. In another part of the library, philosophers gather to read aloud. Their voices are low and melodic, more like song than speech. The words roll out in slow waves, carrying ideas across the room. Listeners close their eyes and let the sound wash over them. Thought becomes feeling, knowledge becomes comfort. It is not about argument or power, it is about harmony, the delicate balance between curiosity and peace. As the sun begins to fade again, the lamps are lit once more. Their glow touches the marble floors and the wooden tables, spreading warmth through the great hall. Outside, the waves continue to whisper against the shore, and the city glows softly under the deepening sky. The scholars finish their work and set down their pens. They do not feel weary. They feel whole. Knowledge in Alexandria is like a river, slow, endless, full of reflection. It never rushes, never dries. It moves through generations, through hands, through time. The masters become students, the students become masters. The current continues, always steady, always kind. At night, when the lamps go out, the library sleeps, but the scrolls remain. Their silence holds the hum of 1,000 thoughts, the dreams of all who came before. The sea keeps its gentle rhythm just beyond the walls. The stars return, scattered like seeds across the dark. The lighthouse still burns, its beams sweeping softly across the water, keeping the memory of curiosity alive. If you listen closely, you can still hear it. The whisper of pages turning, the slow drip of water, the sigh of wind through the open doors. It is the sound of thought at rest, the sound of knowledge breathing, the sound of time moving without haste. Let it fill you now. Let it quiet every corner of your mind. Feel the same stillness that once filled those marble halls. Feel the same calm that guided their hands and softened their hearts. Knowledge, too, can be gentle. Curiosity, too, can be kind. It asks for nothing but attention and offers only peace. The sea moves outside, eternal and slow. The city sleeps again. The water glides past the harbor, touching the stones, the boats, the air. The rhythm continues, endless, soothing, whole. You breathe in, and the air feels ancient. You exhale, and the sound seems to join the sea. You have become part of the same current that carried the thoughts of Alexandria through time. There is no beginning, no end, only flow, only rest. Sleep now within this current. Sleep in the rhythm of knowledge, soft and endless. Sleep with the sound of water and paper, of wind and light, of minds that found peace in understanding. The city remains somewhere in time, still breathing, still shining. You are there too, weightless, quiet, and safe within its calm. The decline and forgetting. The quieting of the empire. There comes a time when even great things grow quiet. The roads that once carried the sound of wheels and hooves become still. The fountains that once sang with clear water fall silent. The marble walls fade into the same pale hue as the dust that gathers on them. And the cities that once shone with life begin to breathe slower, softer, until they merge again with the earth that bore them. The Roman world, once filled with movement, begins to rest. The change does not come with thunder or sudden fall. It arrives gently, the way evening replaces day. Shadows lengthen, not out of sorrow, but from the slow turning of time. The aqueducts still stand, their arches proud and calm, but the sound of water beneath them fades. The air becomes lighter, emptier. The baths grow cool. The voices that once filled them are gone, and only the faint whisper of wind remains. Yet even in this stillness there is no despair, only peace. The city, long alive, is learning how to sleep. The men who once tended the fountains move elsewhere. The women who once filled jars at the public wells now draw water from small springs nearby. The great machines of civilization, the invisible gears that turned quietly behind the scenes, taxation, maintenance, communication, begin to slow one after another. Yet life does not stop, it softens. The people live more closely to the land again. They wake with the sun, sleep with the dark, and let the world move at its natural pace. The empire breathes out and the earth breathes in. In this gentle fading, beauty remains. The stones keep their shape. The arches, though empty, still hold the sky. The mosaics in the baths, dulled by dust, still shimmer faintly when touched by rain. Even the silence feels ordered, as though it too were part of the design. There is no violence here, no abrupt ending, only the long sigh of history, settling into rest. You can imagine walking through one of these old cities. The streets are wide and clear, lined with grass that sways in the wind. A few columns stand in quiet rows, their surfaces soft with age. Birds nest in the cracks where marble meets mortar. The air smells of stone, sun, and growing things. Each step you take echoes faintly, carried upward by the hollow shells of buildings that once held thousands. Yet the echo is not lonely. It is gentle, like the voice of the past, humming softly in its sleep. The empire does not vanish, it drifts. It slips from power into memory, from command into calm. The world that follows is slower, simpler, less certain perhaps, but also closer to stillness. The great halls become shelters for travelers. The roads serve shepherds and wanderers. The fountains feed the grass. The stones, once shaped by ambition, now cradle peace. The silence between stones. When centuries pass, silence deepens. The roads grow narrower as grass reclaims their edges. Trees rise where markets once stood. The roofs collapse, the walls open to the sky. Rain falls directly into the rooms where voices once debated, where laughter once echoed, where fire once burned. But there is no tragedy in this return. The earth is gentle in its taking. It covers the ruins softly, leaf by leaf, grain by grain. The aqueducts remain, their arches half covered by ivy. Birds perch along their curves, watching the light change over the valleys. Sometimes a traveler stops and listens, wondering if he can still hear the faint trickle of water that once flowed through them. But there is only wind now. Steady, unbroken, kind. The wind does not mourn, it remembers. It moves through the arches with the same patience the engineers once used to build them. It traces the paths of vanished rivers and rests in the hollows of old stone. Farther along, the amphitheaters stand open to the sky. The seats, worn smooth by time, hold nothing but shadow and air. The arena floor is covered in wildflowers, small and delicate, swaying gently in the breeze. Where crowds once gathered, now butterflies drift. The air feels wider here, almost sacred in its emptiness. The stones, once heavy with sound and spectacle, now breathe freely. The silence inside them is soft and full, like the quiet of an old friend who no longer needs to speak. In small villages, fragments of the old world remain. A broken column serves as a bench. A piece of marble becomes part of a cottage wall. The designs carved long ago, leaves, wings, waves, are worn smooth but still visible under the fingers. People touch them without knowing their names. They feel the weight of history without thought, only through texture and warmth. The past has become part of the present, not a memory, but a material. The libraries are gone, but their spirit lingers. A farmer passes knowledge to his son by story, not scroll. A mason teaches his apprentice by gesture, not diagram. The light of learning does not vanish, it becomes quieter, more human. The great halls of thought have closed their doors, but their essence has moved into kitchens, fields, and markets, into the hands that build, the eyes that observe, the hearts that remember. You can picture it now in the landscape, scattered with ruins, but alive with wind and green. The sun warms the stone until it glows faintly gold. The air is slow and full. The world feels large again, but gentle. The noise of empire has given way to the hum of nature. The silence is not absence, it is balance. At night, the moonlight spills across the ruins, soft and silver. The arches cast long shadows that move with the wind. Somewhere, a small stream flows where once an aqueduct stood. The stars reflect faintly in its water, turning it into a mirror of the sky. The sound of the current is calm and low, a lullaby for a world that has finally found its rest. The silence between stones is not empty. It is filled with the memory of hands, of voices, of breath. It is the soundless continuation of everything that came before. Time moves, but gently now, like a river beneath ice, like the faint motion of dreams. The memory of wind. As centuries fold into one another, What remains is not the empire, but the feeling it left behind. The roads may fade, the walls may crumble, but the air still carries their echo. Every breeze that crosses the Mediterranean touches the same spaces, glides along the same coastlines, passes through the same valleys that once heard Latin words and Roman footsteps. The wind remembers even when people do not. On quiet afternoons, the light moves slowly over the ruins. Shadows slide across broken stone, across the outlines of what once were homes, temples, baths. Grass waves in the spaces where fountains stood. The world has changed, but the rhythm remains. Slow, steady, circular. The past is not gone, it has become part of the landscape. Somewhere, a shepherd leads his flock along an ancient road. The stones beneath his feet were placed there by hands long forgotten, yet they still hold firm. He does not think of Rome, or empire, or history. He walks in silence, guided by instinct, accompanied by the wind. Above him, the same sun shines that once glinted off marble domes. The same air moves through his hair that once stirred the banners of legions. Everything endures, but softer now. The ruins do not need to be remembered to exist. They have become one with the hills, with the light, with the sky. Moss covers the carvings, roots wrap around the pillars. Rain collects in the hollows and feeds the grass below. Every part of what was once human creation has joined the slow, infinite rhythm of nature. The empire has not ended, it has transformed. At dusk, the air cools. The wind picks up again, moving through the arches, sighing over the stones. It sounds like breath, like music played far away. You can close your eyes and listen, and for a moment, it feels like the world is exhaling. The noise of life falls away, and only the pulse of the earth remains. The ruins are not sad, they are resting. When the night comes, the stars rise over the old city. They hang above the broken domes, the fallen columns, the quiet fields. Their light touches everything equally, the old and the new, the living and the forgotten. The ruins glow faintly in their light, as if remembering what it was to shine. The air cools further. The wind softens. Time itself feels slow, endless, kind. In this quiet, the world feels balanced again. The power that once moved armies now moves only leaves. The roads that once carried messages now carry shadows. The baths that once echoed with voices now hold only water and sky. Yet somehow this feels right. Nothing lasts forever in its first form, but everything continues in another. The Roman world has not vanished, it has become part of the rhythm of rest. Its knowledge sleeps beneath the soil, its strength rests in the stone, its beauty hums in the air. The empire's story has slowed into a lullaby, and if you stand still long enough, if you listen carefully, you will hear it. The faint sigh of wind moving through the arches, the soft rustle of grass against marble, the slow breathing of a world that has found peace after its own grandeur. This is not loss, it is transformation. The empire has simply turned a page. The new chapter is silence, vast, calm, full of light. The wind carries what remains, not monuments, not power, but gentleness. It whispers through the broken corridors, past the empty amphitheaters, over the sleeping fields. It carries the memory of water, of work, of laughter. It carries the echo of a civilization that learned, at last, how to rest. The stars turn slowly above, their light steady and timeless. The earth turns with them. The ruins breathe quietly below. Somewhere, a new city stirs, not built yet, but waiting, listening. The cycle continues. You breathe in, you breathe out. You feel the stillness that comes after long effort, the calm that follows completion. The air around you is full of history, but also peace. The past does not weigh, it drifts. And as you close your eyes, you can hear it. The last lullaby of Rome, not a song of glory, but of rest. The empire sleeps, the world sleeps, and you too drift gently into the same endless quiet. The legacy. The breath after the empire. When the empire ended, the world did not fall silent. It only exhaled. The long, deep breath of a civilization that had carried so much weight for so long began to release into the air. The sound of marching faded. The hammering of builders softened. The fountains ceased their singing, and in the hush that followed, something gentle began to rise. What Rome had made did not vanish, it simply changed form. The stone and water, the arches and roads, the ideas themselves, they remained quiet, patient, waiting. The cities of stone stood under new skies. The bridges that crossed rivers still carried travelers, even when no legions passed. The aqueducts still caught the light of morning and led it toward the horizon, even after the water had stopped flowing. The roads stretched on, empty but unwavering, tracing lines that would become the veins of future lands. Every brick, every curve, every hidden pipe still whispered the same language: order, proportion, endurance. Time moved slowly through these remains, brushing them with wind, rain, and silence. Grass grew in the cracks, ivy wrapped itself around columns, but beneath the green, the form persisted. The shape of Rome lingered not as ruin, but as rhythm. Even without the empire, the pattern it left continued to hum quietly beneath the surface of things. Somewhere in a distant village, a mason lifted a stone the way his ancestors had. He didn't know that his gesture was Roman, but the motion carried memory. Somewhere else, an engineer built a bridge that curved like those ancient arches, guided not by history, but by instinct. The knowledge had settled deep into the earth, into the hands of those who touched it. Civilization, once vast and shining, now breathed through simple acts, through work, through patience, through continuity. The legacy of Rome was never only in its monuments. It was in the quiet understanding that things could be made to last, that stone could be persuaded to balance, that water could be guided without force, that cities could grow in harmony with space. These were not loud ideas. They moved like sleep, softly, invisibly, beneath the surface of waking life. And so, through the long centuries, as kingdoms rose and fell, as names changed and borders blurred, the invisible architecture of Rome continued to guide human thought. Every time a builder aligned his work to the curve of the earth, every time a planner measured distance by rhythm rather than haste, every time someone chose strength through balance instead of excess, the breath of Rome stirred again. The empire itself had rested, but its calm precision had become part of the world's bloodstream. It was not power that survived, it was harmony. It was not command, but craft. What remained was not an empire's voice, but its quiet hum, the low, steady murmur of something built well, built to last. The hands that remember. Centuries passed. The people who came after walked through fields where marble once stood, through forests that had reclaimed old roads. Yet the shapes beneath their feet still guided them. The paths that cut across Europe and beyond were Roman once, laid with patience, stone after stone, forming threads that never broke. Villages and towns grew where those paths crossed, and from them new lives began. The empire had gone, but its network remained, invisible yet real, a quiet map written into the land. Builders of later ages looked at ruins not as endings but as beginnings. They took broken columns and placed them in new walls. They borrowed proportions from old temples and built new churches. They studied the domes that still stood and dreamed of new ones that could rise even higher. Rome's genius became a seed. It slept beneath centuries of change, but when touched by curiosity, it awakened again, fresh, familiar, eternal. In every generation, hands remembered what minds forgot. The feel of balanced weight, the sound of stone fitting into place, the rhythm of water moving through hidden channels, all of it lingered like muscle memory in the craft of humankind. Even when the names of the emperors faded, the shape of their thinking endured. Every bridge, every vault, every plane drawn with care echoed that same silent inheritance. A road laid straight through a valley carried the same reasoning as the ancient Via Appia. A bridge curved across a river with the same logic that had guided the first aqueduct. Even the humblest well, built by villagers in the hills, followed the same rule: measure twice, trust gravity, let the world help you hold what you create. This quiet genius was Rome's truest gift, the knowledge that harmony and patience could outlast glory. The scholars who rediscovered old texts in later ages felt something stirring when they read them. The words of Vitruvius on proportion, the notes on water and stone, the designs of balance and beauty, they were like messages from the calm heart of a vanished age. But these were not lessons to memorize, they were reminders to feel. The legacy of Rome was not a set of rules, but a rhythm, not a formula, but a sense. It was the breath between structure and silence, between making and resting. The artists of the Renaissance did not simply imitate Rome, they listened to it. They felt its calm precision in the bones of buildings, in the slow curve of domes, in the balance of light and line. They did not awaken something dead, they joined something living that had only been sleeping. The old order of stone and geometry opened its eyes again, stretching softly unbroken. The world renewed, exhaled with it. Every age that followed carried a trace of this memory, in the bridges that still span rivers, in the arches that still frame light, in the measured rhythm of cities. The Romans may have left their empire behind, but they left the world with something greater, a way to move through time without losing balance, a way to build not only with hands, but with calm. The shape of what endures. Today, the stones of Rome still stand, some broken, some whole, all patient. The Pantheon still opens its oculus to the sky. The Colosseum still holds its shadow and its curve. The roads, worn smooth by centuries, still lead outward, touching other cities, other lives. These are not just ruins, they are breaths caught in matter, the physical echo of an idea that never truly ended. You can stand among them and feel it. The air around the columns hums faintly with warmth. The marble seems to hold light longer than it should, as though it has learned to store the sun. The ground beneath you feels steady, as if it remembers the weight of everything that has passed. There is no sense of loss here, only continuity. The empire has gone, but its heartbeat remains, slow and steady, beneath the skin of the modern world. Look closely at a bridge that arches over a quiet river. The stones fit so perfectly, you can slip your fingers into the seams and feel how time itself has polished them smooth. The water passes beneath, patient and constant. The bridge does not fight the current, it joins it. This too is legacy, not defiance, but balance. Not the struggle to endure, but the grace of continuing to belong. Walk down an old Roman road now bordered by olive trees and wildflowers. The stones are uneven, but they still lead forward. Each step feels measured, guided. You are walking not just on history, but through it, through centuries of footsteps that have all moved at the same calm pace. You are part of that slow procession now. Every breath you take joins the rhythm of time that flows quietly from the ancient world to this one. And when you stop, when you stand in stillness among the ruins, the world seems to pause with you. The air grows soft. The wind moves through the arches, carrying the faint scent of dust and warmth. In that moment, you can almost hear the Empire exhaling once more, not in pain, not in regret, but in peace. The story has been told, the work is done, what remains is balance. The legacy of Rome is not carved into marble or captured in books. It lives in the way we build, the way we plan, the way we breathe. It lives in the quiet insistence that beauty and order belong together, that strength can be gentle, that permanence can be calm. It lives wherever a wall is built true, wherever a bridge meets its reflection without fear, wherever light enters a room and feels at home. Even the silence it left is part of that inheritance. The stillness that follows completion, the pause that lets meaning settle. The Empire's last gift was this understanding, that time itself is an architect and that rest is the final form of creation. As the night falls over the ruins, the last light of the day clings to the stones, the air cools, the shadows lengthen. Somewhere, water still moves through ancient pipes, slow and steady. The wind sighs along the arches. The stars rise, the same ones that watched over Rome long ago. Everything remains, changed yet familiar, quiet yet alive. You breathe in deeply, and the air feels older than memory. You exhale, and the world seems to breathe with you. In this rhythm, you understand. Nothing truly ends. The Empire, the stones, the ideas, the calm, they all continue, transformed but whole. Sleep now in the breath of this legacy. Sleep within the architecture of time, where every ruin is a cradle and every silence is a song. The world holds you as the stones once held the arches. The balance endures, the calm endures, you endure. Now the story fades like twilight on old stone. The cities grow dim, the arches blur into shadow, and the sound of the world becomes slow and kind. You are no longer walking through the ruins of time, you are resting within them. The air is still. The light folds itself into dusk. Every breath you take feels deeper, calmer, easier. The night gathers you gently as it once gathered the world after its long, shining day. Above, the stars begin their silent work. They appear one by one, patient and bright, each one a thought that has learned to rest. The moon glides through the sky, smooth and pale, spilling silver across the quiet earth. Its light touches rooftops and rivers, walls and fields, finding you where you are. Still, peaceful, safe. The breeze that moves through the night is soft as memory. It drifts through the arches of your mind, sweeping away the noise, leaving only the hush that waits beneath. You feel the weight of the day melt from your body. The rhythm of your heart slows to match the rhythm of the air. Your hands relax, your shoulders ease, your eyes grow heavy with warmth. There is nothing more to do, nothing to hold, nothing to solve. The world is cared for, the time for effort has passed. What remains is simple, rest. Imagine the sound of distant water, a fountain perhaps hidden in an ancient courtyard. It murmurs softly, steady and low, a lullaby shaped by centuries. The sound loops without end, never louder, never less. It asks nothing of you. It carries you like a small boat drifting down a calm river, the current slow, the night endless. The air around you thickens with peace. Even the stars seem to move slower now, their light stretching gently across the sky. Somewhere, far away, the ruins of Rome breathe in the dark, their stones cool, their memories at ease. They do not mourn what has passed. They rest, and in their rest, they shine. You are part of that same stillness, part of that same quiet continuity. The pulse of the world and the pulse of your heart are one. Let the breath come and go like the tide. Let the thoughts rise and fade like wind through the grass. Let the body sink into the weight of the bed like stone settling into earth. The night holds you kindly, time holds you softly. You are safe within both. Sleep now, gentle traveler. Sleep beneath the sky that has watched over all things. Sleep within the calm that has followed every empire, every storm, every sound. The water still flows somewhere, the wind still hums, and the world turns in silence. Close your eyes. The story is complete. The night is long. And everything, absolutely everything, is at peace.